Today, the Lord's word and vision comes from the parable of the minas in Luke chapter 19 and 11. The context is this, that we have been used to a certain world, certain societal order created, designed by God. It's getting violated more and more. And in this context, He gave us the minas and we were asked to serve faithfully. Now a transition time is coming from trading with minas. He's asking us to rule over cities. That's the context I'm examining. Let me start with Luke chapter 19 verse 11. While they were listening, a nobleman went to a distant country to receive a kingdom for himself. Then he gave them 10 minas and said to them, do business. When he returned after receiving the kingdom, the first appeared saying, Master, your mina has made 10 minas more. And he said to him, well done, good and faithful servant, because you have been faithful in a very little thing, you are to be authority over 10 cities. Then the next one got 5 minas more, he got 5 cities. The last one said, Master, here is your mina which I had kept away in a handkerchief. I was afraid of you because you are an exacting man. You take up what you did not lay down and reap what you did not sow. So let's see this as Christians, believers. So the one who made 10 more, he got 10 cities. My pitch is this: Goshen's survival is over. We have to get into ruling mode, because the Lord is taking an account of minas and giving us rulership, that it is only prayer governance, royal priesthood, ruling with his sceptre and staff in the place where God keeps us, Daniel or Joseph or Nehemiah or Mordecai, just in your family itself. You have to rule, you have to lead your call. Why is this so? Because God's order has changed. What God ordered, designed, man has changed drastically. I'll give you 12 points to give the context. But there are Christians, like the man with the mina, he hid it. And he blamed the master. So in this time, many Christians are asking, why? COVID came, why? Our children's education is stuck, our jobs are difficult, why God? Didn't you know this? Can't you stop this, God? So I'm suggesting about 50% of this story of 1/3 out of the 3, only one behave like that, hiding the mina and adopting survival tactics, forgetting the master, forgetting the kingdom, thinking we'll have to grit our teeth and bear, survival of the fittest kind of thing. That's not where God is leading us. He is asking us to take rulership now. Now that the talent time, the mina time is coming to an end, so to say. So why am I saying God's order of design is completely violated? One, when abortions are more than live births, then it is time God may take stock. You see, in China alone, they adopted one-child policy, killed the baby child, and imagine 1.2 billion people, let's say 300 million households, killing at least one baby. 300 million babies killed over a year, so to say. So ultimately, live births might have been less than killed births, abortions, world over. It's a horrible thing. God created for life. God gave the Edenic mandate saying, be fruitful and multiply. When man is violating that, what would God do? Is it time up? Point number 2, when marriage is threatened with LGBTQI, the defense of heterosexual marriage is criminalized, and many people postpone marriage. 3, when more live together rather than marry in covenant, rather than keeping marital covenantal unity, and then more than 50% divorce. What will happen? What would God think about the assault on the family, and then the assault on the sexuality? Because transgenderism children coerced into it, and parents have no voice over it. Parents can be taken to courts. Recently in Victoria, such laws are being promulgated. Parents can't oppose if a child wants transgenderism. What kind of person is this? Then point number 4, 99% of world's GDP in the hands of 1%. Increasingly it moved like that. What about that? How would God look at that? Increasingly, the global oligarchs. Then point number 5, when more than half the kids are sold to pedophilia, and they are damaged by malnutrition or plagued by virus and vaccines, when children's health is on the line, how would God look at it? What a terrible thing that would be. And then with transgenderism and childhood completely distorted, physically abused. Point number 6, when more than 50% of professionals are not benefactors but malefactors, scientists, practicing fake science, doctors, lawyers, all those who are supposed to be shepherds of the people. And a great tragedy in our own land that teachers don't teach at school. I'm not saying everybody is like that, but tutories have been launched, and children have a third force, between school and family, and they have this completely outside on any holiday, on any weekend. Kids are out there, and there's a tuition culture, and often in cities that tuition classes are agog, There are also abortion clinics, and then we have had research done in outstation towns. Most number of condoms are sold when A-level students come for tuition classes. This is a Sri Lankan scenario. And one particular town in Sri Lanka, just 50-60 miles from Colombo town called Kurunegala, where many long distance trains go through that city, so that from many distant cities kids come for tuition because it's such an important thing. And then that's the city that has largest number of HIV first-time infections. It has become such a lifestyle. So, and then with the tuition classes going on, the mother goes for the outside the house in the evening, and she gets into her own indiscretions to earn a little more money. So the family is disrupted. Teaching profession has sold themselves, just the way the medical profession has. I'm not saying everybody is like this, but large numbers, we have no statistics, but I'm just conjecturing, what if 50% of the professions, they are malefactors rather than benefactors? How would God, the great shepherd, look at this and manage this? Point number 7, when viruses and vaccines are planned to annihilate 50%, and health industry is killing actually, not health giving. Point number 8, when food manipulation harms health and causes famine. All kinds of genetic manipulation, patenting seed, and the whole lot, using organophosphates, agrochemicals, that whole scenario. Then point number 9, when global oligarchs are taking over the world's economies, the nation's economies, and nations have no sovereignty, people from outside decide on national policy. The money lending agencies. Point number 10, when courts work for the oppressor. Point number 11, when goats overrun most nations and lambs are led to the slaughter. Point number 12, when consumerism makes food scarce and luxuries abound as economies are driven by Keynesian economics. So I gave a pretty bleak picture. My emphasis is not the bleak picture, but my emphasis is that it is time Christians shift here from survival and complaining to ruling their cities, because here the Master says, first appeared, Master, your minas has made 10 minas, and he said to him, well done. You have been faithful in a very little thing. You are to be in authority over 10 cities. So it's time the church arises to New Testament authority, holding positions as Daniel or Joseph or Nehemiah or Mordecai or whatever, keeping your professions of course, but knowing that unless you rule in the Spirit, lead your call, crown from heaven, you will not get it. I want to make an appeal to every father and mother. Please look after your kids. Give them time. Their schools are disrupted, so you have to do some kind of homeschooling, mentoring, coaching. Yes, I know you two are stretched, keeping family income going. But if you lose your children, what's the point in keeping family income going? So I'm appealing to take perspective, please, that Christians will lead the way, how to keep home. And when home is threatened and parents get back home to do shepherding at home, they'll automatically think God. Wouldn't you think so? When homes are thinking of taking real care of children, they will think God also. This is how the world will be redeemed one more time. But times are urgent. So I want to take you from there. The mystery of iniquity as described in 2 Thessalonians 2:7 and the mystery of godliness as described in 1 Timothy 3:16 are really at loggerheads, meaning they're both. So if the mystery of iniquity wins out because the iniquity makers are more zealous in their trade than Christians for the mystery of godliness, that would be very sad. So getting to the book of getting into the horses of Revelation chapter 6, there was a time when the horses will be in full gallop, all galloping together. So that period really heightened up with the white horse shooting arrows, bloodless victories, mindsets changing, Sigmund Freud 1839, Karl Marx 1859, Charles Darwin 1859, and that scenario went on with all kinds of ideologues till First World War. Then came the red horse with the sword, communism arose, and that red horse and galloping, as Revelation 6 describes, went on till 1960 when Keynesian economics, consumerism, drive the market, increased the demand, caught on, and they began to manufacture many more things besides food, and they began to concentrate on food stuff less, and more production came, ruining ecology, ruining morals and so on. So that was the black horse, Mammon ruling. Then there was a time after all this, so 1793, there was a time that that the final horse, the pale horse, would be galloping full speed, and in fact all four galloping together. So white horse kind of philosophy and a world religion, red horse kind of coercive politics, and black horse mammon raging. So the religious philosophical part of the syndicate, the political part of the beast, the mammon part of the beast, and then the pale horse. Revelation chapter 6, verse 7, when the Lamb broke the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature said, "Come." I looked, and behold, an ashen horse, deathly color. He who sat on it had the name Death, and Hades was following him. Authority was given to them over fourth of the earth to kill with the sword, with famine, with pestilence, or plague, COVID, and by the wild beasts of the earth. So COVID will be followed by another made virus, and the vaccine destroys immunity. That's what RNA vaccines have been doing. So that's the way it is going. So we are in that season, and all things have worked gallop to this hour. Then we get to Revelation chapter 3, 2 and 3, when the Lord is discussing the church age. We know Ephesus was the first church age in which John lived. The apostolic or sub-apostolic church, faithful in doctrine, lost the first love. Then comes Smyrna, the suffering church, till 325 AD, when the church suffered and Constantine claimed to convert. Then came the perversion of the church, Pergamos, from Revelation, from 325 to 500 AD. Then from 500 to 1500 AD came the devil's millennium, the church of Thyatira, sacrificing to idols, priesthood completely corrupted, and official church being so corrupt, and the actual church having to go underground. Then comes the church of Sardis. And during the time of the church of Sardis, so we know these are churches and cities that were actually there, and periodically throughout the history of the church, there would be churches that would be like this or that. Of course, each church in the book of Revelation depicts a church epoch. So then we come to Sardis, the time of the Reformation, when things are looking pretty dead, and Christ says, Revelation 3, to wake up and strengthen the things that remain which were about to die. So that's what they started doing, but their deeds were not completed. And then he said to that church, repent, what you have received, remember what you have received and heard, and keep it and repent, so just shall live by faith. At least the war cry came back, the slogan came back. If you do not wake up, I will come like a thief. So that second coming was first intimated during the church epoch of Sardis. But when you come to the missionary church age, Philadelphia, wide open door, faithful church, church faithful in mission, and to that church Christ said, Revelation chapter 3, verse 10, you have kept the word of my perseverance, I will also keep you from the hour of testing, hour of tribulation, which is already upon us. About to come upon the whole world to test those, I am coming quickly. So during that time, he says, I am coming quickly. Then we come finally to the Laodicean scene, the rich church, the compromised church, very much like the wider church today. And to them there, he's saying, I am now at the door. So we know we are in that time, when largely the church is like the Laodicean church. He says, I'm at the door, I'm knocking on the door. That's where we have come. So the horses, apocalyptic horses galloping in confluence, and the churches working to the point of Christ's coming. So what's the message for us? I might please realize at the time, there's the time of talents being turned over for rulership, every Christian to enter it, every dad and mom to rule their family line, and faithfulness with the talent will be rewarded. Commissioned you to be a ruler of a city. It's not survival and grumbling like in Goshen. Lead your royal call. Lead your royal call. So it's not pastor trying to tell you once a week, but you daily keeping your family priority, daily getting a word, daily making intercession, and then prophecy is a bridge for the next what God has, overcoming. So it is time to sit with him on the throne, Revelation 3:20, and rule with Christ. So as we rule our portion, we help our national governments to rule and do what they have to do to save our nations from oligarchs, so that the goat kind will not run over the nations. So we expect increasing angelic interaction, ruling by prayer, prophecy, and divine intention, divine intervention. We expect gates of Hades cannot run over the church. So we are determined that we will not sign up for the beast little by little. We did it yesterday when Daniel's three friends, the image came up. They said, no way, O king. We are not going to get signed up for that. So this is a quick survey of what is this changing time. Talents changing, meaning you're not merely trading anymore, you have to rule. That was God's world and the way the society, trade, professions had been designed. But now in every area, there's fake media leading the whole gang, fake science, fake scientists, fake politicians who are not for the nation, but they are doing the bidding of the global oligarchs. They are selling their nations into the hands of the global oligarch. You see the mess in the United Kingdom and the severe battle in the United States. Yes. So it's a, what shall I say, it's a time like no other. But God is equal. And he says, lead your royal call. So I'm appealing to every Christian, lead your home, take and please attend on your 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 14-year-old, 16-year-old. Lead them in the spirit, because the times are so vicious. Please, Mom and Dad, you have to do this. So God bless you. I hope you caught the urgency of my voice, that this is doable, leading our call. That's the call for the next year, leading it. Let's begin it in this last week of this month, December. We have said this is the month that God will chase out COVID out of our city, Colombo, and you can take the same stand in your nation as the church goes, so will the world go. We can't allow our hands to hang down. This is a time to make the shields of the Lord in your nation. Suzerainities, shields of nations belong to God, says Psalm 49. God bless you and keep you.